Have you ever been in that weird limbo, kind of wondering, are we just dating or is this actually a relationship? Yeah, you are not alone. The lines today are blurrier than ever, so let's get a clear map to figure out exactly where you stand.
Ah, yes, the three little words that can cause so much anxiety. What are we? It's the question that just hangs in the air, right? But hey, don't worry. By the end of this, you're going to have a really clear framework to finally find the answer.
So, why is that conversation so universally awkward? Well, it's because the lines between just casually hanging out and actually being a couple, they've become incredibly blurred. I mean, you hear all these terms, right? Talking, a situationship, but what do they really mean? You know what? To cut through all that noise, let's just focus on the two main stages, the dating phase and the relationship phase. That's where you'll find the real clarity. Okay, first up, let's talk about dating. The key thing to remember here is that it's not a label. It's an active phase of discovery and exploration. I want you to think of yourself as a detective. Seriously. During the dating phase, your whole job is to gather clues. You're learning about their passions, their quirks, their values, all of it, to answer one single fundamental question. Are we a good match? So in practice, the dating phase is all about the present. You're not planning a future 6 months from now. You're just figuring out if you enjoy the right now. This means things are often scheduled, like a date night once a week. And it's generally understood that you both might be exploring other connections too. The driving force here is that initial attraction and interest as you work to answer that very first question. Do I even like hanging out with this person? But what happens when that exploration phase starts to lead to something more? Well, that's when you enter a relationship, and it is a fundamental shift from discovery to actual partnership. The whole mindset just flips. You're no longer just collecting data, you're co-creating a story together. And this story is built on a solid foundation of exclusivity and a much, much deeper emotional connection. And you can see how the focus shifts dramatically, right? Instead of just living in the moment, you start planning a future together, even if it's something as simple as booking a vacation a few months out. Exclusivity, that's the new default. You're not just fitting each other in anymore. You're making time for each other a priority. And that initial spark of attraction, it's grown into a deeper sense of love and togetherness, where the goal is now to build and grow as a team. So, if you had to boil it all down to the single biggest difference, what would it be? It's this. Dating is all about exploring your options. A relationship is about building a reality with one person. Commitment, that's the line in the sand. Putting it all side by side like this really highlights the evolution. Just look at how every single aspect deepens. Commitment goes from casual to exclusive. Time spent goes from scheduled to prioritized. And the emotional depth, it grows from simple attraction into a true partnership. It's such a clear progression, right, across the board. Okay, so we've defined the two destinations, but the million-dollar question is, how do you actually get from dating to us? Let's talk about how to navigate that transition mindfully. The number one rule of this transition: you can't force it. It is not a switch you just flip one day, it's a path you walk together. Honestly, trying to sprint to the finish line is probably one of the biggest mistakes you can make. I love this analogy. Think about it. Are you building a microwave meal or a crock pot meal? A microwave is fast, sure, it's easy, but it's often kind of unsatisfying. A crock pot, though, that takes time, it lets everything simmer and deepen. A real relationship is a crock pot meal. It needs patience to become something truly great. And here's another way to think about it. It's like jumping into a pool. You wouldn't just dive headfirst into the shallow end, right? You'd get hurt. No, you have to take the time to swim to the deep end, building that solid foundation of trust before you can safely take the plunge into commitment. So what does this actually look like in action? Well, first, pace yourself. It really is like a tennis match, a natural back and forth. You don't want to be the only one serving, right? Next, and this is so important, let go of expectations. Don't project a whole future onto someone after just a few dates. Stay present. Stay in reality. And finally, just communicate honestly. No games, no strategies, just be open and authentic. So after you've paced yourself, you've built that foundation, and you've let things develop naturally, you arrive at the final step, making it official. This is the moment where the path converges.
It all comes down to a conversation where you both decide you want to walk the same way. It's about explicitly agreeing on exclusivity and a shared direction. And you know what? It doesn't matter if it's after 2 months or 6. This conversation is the key that unlocks the relationship door.
So there you have it. You now have the map from the very first steps of dating all the way to the destination of a relationship. The only question left is, where are you on that map? And with this new clarity, what conversation do you need to have to take the next step?